morning, everybody. Another Cute for Teams session. And before I even get going, I want to say to all the geeks out there, happy Star Wars Day yesterday. May the 4th be with you. As you can see, I'm still thinking about Star Wars Day. So, you just channel your inner Ewok today as we kind of talk about teams. But glad to see you here for another Cute for Teams, champions using teams effectively. You are the champion. I am Ricardo, and we also have Stacy.
Yes, I'm here too.
Yep. And in fact, I
It's
think
coming.
she's
It's coming.
yeah, I think she's here in her nice little virtual
I sure
self.
am.
So hopefully you guys can see all that. So we just got all kind of cool little gadgets going today on this nice May the 5th post Star Wars
Cinco de
Day.
Mayo. Yeah, happy
There you
Cinco de
go.
Mayo too.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. So glad you're here. See if folks still floating in. As always, well, if you're new, um, you've landed in a place where fellow Teams fanatics come to talk about all things Teams and Office 365 and collaboration. And if it's basically office hours, ask me anything. If you have a question, feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat. And that's what we'll try to do today, is to answer those questions and kind of talk together as a group. So if that's what you need, you're in the right spot. So good stuff there. And I do see lots of stuff happening in the chat. So we're going to try our best to kind of filter through this here. So I started reading the first one here. So team member status. Is there any plan to add the ability to filter to see who is online or available, or group by availability status? In Skype for Business, we have the ability to see our contacts group by availability. I know I can do that under contacts, under chat, but heard that was going away, or under calls, contact groups. But I would love to be able to go on to a list of team members and quickly see who is online and available. So let me share my screen so we can be looking at the same thing here. And what you referenced was going to be what I was going to suggest as well, which is contacts and having groups here. I have not heard about this going away. Stacey, have you heard anything about?
I haven't, but
okay, I might have been misinformed on that one. I might have been remembering that one incorrectly.
Yeah, because to me, this is the best way to do that. I mean, you can create groups here. And just as you describe, be able to see within a group who's available. So I do that often with my team members and even customers, thanks to federation between our tenants. So that would be my approach. And yeah, I haven't heard about that going away. So yeah, so assuming that's going to stay, I'm thinking that's the best approach there. And then championing and training, trying to organize virtual boot camps and conferences over the summer and fall on different topics. Has anyone else done this? And do you have any recommendations or lessons learned on how to host a great virtual conference? In fact, I do know, just based on previous sessions here, that several folks on the line have done that. I don't know if anybody wants to chime in with their approach, but I know people have used breakout rooms and combined, on-site rooms with, virtual rooms, hybrid approach. So, anybody on the line who's done a virtual conference, maybe with any tips and tricks or gotchas, your perspective? So it looks like maybe some stuff is coming up in the chat there. But yeah, certainly, I guess the one tip I would suggest for that, I think I've even heard in this group, is just thinking about a hybrid approach that allows people on site to be able to experience something as well as people remote. and if you're lucky, without sacrificing too much on either side, right? And so that may be a room, you know, whether it's a full-blown Teams room or just a room set up with, you know, cameras and you know, maybe a big screen to just allow both folks to be able to interact, you know, equally. And things like hand raising and things like that should also help with that. And as Amanda points out, practice. You know, whatever it is you're going to do, go through some dry runs and practice, and yes, and get a quote unquote production crew. Amanda's reminding me of the days when I used to help customers like her with their productions. That was fun. That was fun times. But you know, 3 or 4 people on laptops, you know, handling live event chat and all that good stuff. So yes, you do need some practice if you want those to go smoothly. And then Power BI question. That may be, I don't know if we've got any Power BI. Oh, so visualizing a list doesn't seem to say we published a report on the list first attempt. I don't. So yeah, people on the line, if you're seeing the chat, if you've had that experience, maybe you can help. But I don't know that Stacy or I have enough Power BI knowledge for that one.
I don't really, other than to say, just in general, if you're driving things on your computer and you step away for a little while, sometimes you need to make sure that you are indeed still connected and authenticated. I have no idea if that's part of the issue, but I just want to throw that out there.
Private view function button, I'm assuming on PowerPoint Live to preview slides. Private view didn't work during an all staff. What happened to the private view? I'm not aware of that going away.
Hi, it's Glenn. Is it okay if I give you a little more information on that?
Yeah. Okay.
I put quotes from one of our users that's conducting large meetings, and you know, I showed them how to do PowerPoint Live and the advantages of PowerPoint Live, but they were upset about the ability of individual users to advance the slides themselves, and they felt that this could create confusion because people are getting ahead of the speaker, or they don't know whether they're only advancing it for themselves or for the group, which they're not advancing it for the group because they're not a presenter. So I don't know anything about this private view, and I was unable to find anything about it in the team's help. But apparently they have discovered that if the first presenter locks in private view, then the users cannot advance slides on their own or in any way interact with the presentation. So they want to have it locked down, but they found that private view button, which I put an example of in the chat, works for some, but not all. And if whoever is the first presenter does or does not set up private view, then each succeeding presenter who's coming in with a speaking part, but you know, they used to all have their own individual PowerPoints and share one at a time.
Right.
And we encouraged them put it together in one big PowerPoint and use PowerPoint Live. And the individual presenters can then take control and advance the slides and speak their part. That's all good. So they were saying the first presenter, whether they lock in private view or not, subsequent presenters will not be able to change that. And I tested that and found that to be true.
Yeah.
And but anyway, anything you can tell me about private view would be very helpful because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so far that all makes sense to me, that it sounds like it's working as designed. So you've put multiple presentations together into one. So someone has shared that as PowerPoint Live. They are the presenter as far as Teams is concerned. They've chosen private view. So while other presenters may be coming and speaking their part, maybe even taking control, it's still that experience is still owned by that first person. So they're relinquishing some control to the next person for the purpose of advancing slides, but not controlling the PowerPoint live experience. So the presenter one is present. So, the way I think you'd want to do that is to basically, I mean, you would want one to stop sharing and another to start sharing if you wanted each one to have the ability to turn off private view and those kind of things. But private view is working as designed, which is just like your note said, the person doesn't want people to skip ahead and be on a slide that they're not on, confusing, all that stuff. I get that. So yes, that is the solution for that presenter's problem is private view. So using it correctly, I think the only confusing part missing there is why can't my other presenters change it, enable, disable, and it's really because even though they're handed over control, and maybe that should be in air quotes. I mean, they're being handed over the ability to advance slides, but not the ability to completely control the PowerPoint live experience that has been initiated by that first presenter. Does that make sense?
Yes. Is there any other circumstance that would make them unable to access private view or turn it on in a large meeting?
Yeah, the person who's kicked off the PowerPoint live, is there any reason why they wouldn't be able to go to private view? I can't think of any reason.
Okay.
It's their presentation coming out of their OneDrive. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen that not work. And if anybody has this on the line, feel free to let me know. But I would not expect those other presenters to be able to turn on and off PowerPoint or private view if they haven't initiated the actual PowerPoint live session.
Okay, thank you. So the first person who opens the PowerPoint is the owner and primary presenter, and they will see the private view button and they can turn it on, and then it's on for the whole presentation.
As long as they're kicking off the PowerPoint live, yeah. Now, certainly they could stop their share and the next presenter do their own PowerPoint live. Now they've got all the bells and whistles as well.
Okay,
So
thank you.
That way, yeah. So cool. I'm just trying to scan the chat here. Amanda's offering to talk to people about her experience with production crews and all that stuff for live events. Yep, so we got some chat going. All right, cool. And then I see the question about the new channel experience. And any thoughts on it? In fact, I think I can show that. Go over to my commercial tenant and close this out. And I think this guy here. So this is the preview version. I think you can get I think the channels, Stacy, is the channels experience in the old Teams or current Teams client? Is that a thing? Or is it, I feel like there was a time when that channels 2.0, right? That's what it was actually. Yeah. So now I'm already in the new client, but in the current client up here, you may or may not have try the channels 2.0 preview or something like that. I knew I had seen that somewhere. But when you do, you would see I think experience similar to this. The main thing being that instead of new posts at the bottom, new posts are now at the top, and we're reading, top to bottom now. That's the main thing, and a little more, some subtle changes to the posting experience, as you can see here. Some of our controls are, from a drop down here. What else is kind of new in this? I was trying to see. Yeah, I was looking for that. So whether you want to post or an announcement is this little button here. So some subtle changes. I probably just meant to kind of make the compose experience maybe more similar to what we see in other apps. anything, Stacy, you've experienced in new teams or new channels?
No, but it did make me think of the video chat capability or the video clip capability, but that's more of a chat related function, and I actually don't see it there. I've seen it in mine.
This is the new. So if you are trying out the new Teams UI preview, I think there still are several features that aren't over in that yet, and that's why it's still preview. So I'm not surprised at that. What I will say is, and the reason I'm pausing is because I'm not sure if it's in this new Teams environment or just the Channel 2.0 preview, but you may find some interesting functionality related to, for instance, opening a particular message. I believe the goal in this Channels 2.0 world is one with less taking you out of your work as you are opening a new message, right? And so you'll start to see more like I click on a message and it gets either opened in its own window, or it basically tries to keep you in the context of your work. And I'm thinking about how I could even show that. Not sure. In fact, I may let me get out of this and go back to is anybody out there trying Channel 2.0 or any of these new things? Let's see. Switch back. And in terms of when are you getting this upgrade, I don't know what the date is. So this kind of just the new Teams kind of just went in preview maybe a month or two ago. So even for commercial, I'm not sure what the date is for that. And with certain functionality still missing, it could be a little bit of time here. And I don't have the Channel 2.0 here. Let me check I don't have it on my government tenant either. So I don't have a way to show the Channel 2.0 here, apparently. But I guess I'll just talk maybe more anecdotally, because your question was, what do you think about it? And in general, I like it. It addresses a couple of pet peeves of mine with channels. Like, for instance, I have seen that when I go to a particular message, I like for the side Teams area to kind of go to the channel itself, where that message resides, if that makes sense. And again, I can't think of how to really show that. But in the past, I've gone to messages where I'm like, I'm seeing it here, but it's kind of like in Windows Explorer, right? You're looking at a folder and you want to see in the folder hierarchy where you're sitting. That's what I kind of like when I'm looking at posts, and the new channel UI seems to do that. So I appreciate that. And again, I also appreciate its attempts to keep you in focus. So as opposed to maybe, especially for channel messages, taking you and dropping you in that channel with all its other posts, it makes attempts to just open the channel post that you were looking at and its thread, and not necessarily the rest of that channel thread. If you can visualize that, because I don't know how to demo that here. So in general, I am liking it so far, and I guess once it starts to filter out to you guys, you'll be able to see for yourself. Switch back to my government tenant. So, and then someone saying the new experience was in Message Center today for rollout in June. Okay. So for GCC, that the new channel stuff you may not be seeing if you've got a personal or commercial tenant. I guess that's where you'll be seeing those options. But again, all of this, we're all in this preview mode. So they're not making promises, but sometime in the near or short term, we'll start to see some new experiences with teams and channels. I know Stacy and I are part of internal groups, and you can just tell the team is really trying to work on the innovation of that, and gathering the years of experience that now we've all had with teams and the 300 million users that are out there, and giving feedback and So I think good stuff is coming. And then I see Stacy in the chat just reminded us about Public Service Recognition Week. You want to talk about that for a second, Stacy?
Sure. So every year in the United States, we have the first full week in May dedicated to Public Service Recognition Week. And we wanted to make sure we took a minute of this call at least, and we could talk the whole 30 minutes about how much Ricardo and I respect public service and the commitment that you all show day in and day out in your government roles. We are very grateful. Our communities are very grateful, and we have ways that we can help you encourage and recognize your coworkers. We're going to be making a post in the tech community blog or the public sector blog next week. And we're going to encourage folks to use Viva Insights to send praise to their coworkers. And we're going to really look to blasting on LinkedIn. We want as many public servants to be recognized by their peers as we can. So we're going to be sharing some how-tos and some suggestions around getting the word out and showing gratitude to each other. As much as we feel that gratitude, Ricardo and I can thank our immediate customers, but we really want that gratitude to spread far and wide. You can see in the screen that Ricardo is sharing, it really applies across federal, state, county, local, and tribal government employees. So the extent of what we consider government and all the employees that work in those roles each day deserve to feel our gratitude and our honor. So we wanted to make sure we mentioned that to you all. We're thankful for your service and are glad to have you host glad to host you each and every week in helping you to deliver on your missions.
I'm hoping my hand claps come through on the recording. I'm not sure if they do. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, in fact, in this demo tenant, Viva Insights has really been trying to remind me to send praises to colleagues. So it's good advice. Yeah, and certainly, as Stacy mentioned, we'll have a post related to all that coming soon. But hopefully, you're already taking advantage of the public sector blog for public sector GCC specific, information that gets posted regularly. I've got a few posts of my own in this blog as well. If you're looking for some cowbell specific content. Right. Checking the chat here. See lots of thumbs up and hearts and whatnot. And the link to this blog, as is asked in the chat, the quick link would be, obviously you can go to techcommunity.microsoft.com and find it, but the quick link is ak.ms/pubsecblog, and Stacy put that, actually I can put that in the chat.
Yeah, sorry. I actually threw the link to the little YouTube clip we put together for your channel that highlights the Viva Insights and the way to access praise. It's the PubSec blog, though. Everyone favorite that link, please.
Yeah, for sure.
That is an awesome resource for you and for us as well.
Yeah, and tech community in general. PubSec blog is one of many. If for us Teams fanatics, there's a team specific one. So there, when Teams posts show up in the PubSec blog, is because there's some public sector or GCC tie-in, maybe some new Teams feature that has hit GCC. But certainly Teams in general, they have their own blog in tech community. So they may or may not reference government specific stuff there, but you probably want to follow both as a Teams champion. So keep that in mind. You did a pretty good job, Stacy, on that avatar.
I
That's
don't know. I'm struggling with it a little bit, but thank you.
yeah.
I am a friend of the lavender and lilac colors, so I just went
Yeah.
crazy down to the lipstick.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I like mine or not. And they need more options in the avatar creation. So,
I
but
just
cool. And so
love all the
avatars and
action.
GCC. I mean, avatars aren't in commercial yet. That's another preview one. Um, so GCC, I'm not sure. I know I'm hearing some folks kind of suggest it might take some time to um, really to get the government. I don't know. Well, I've heard government customers kind of like not thinking that's gonna fly, with their orgs. So even when it hits, there might still be some challenges. I suspect you might have to have some conversations with some folks, but yeah, I don't have a date on that as of yet, even for commercial. But that gives them more time to put more features and options in there. Anything else in the last couple minutes? Anybody want to come off mute, ask any questions, make any comments? If you're in chat, you can share a virtual margarita before Cinco de Mayo, I guess.
Hey, Ricardo, this is Anne
Yeah.
over at CCSF, and I had a question about getting more training on how our Power Platform works within Teams. So training on with a live trainer. Would you have any resources for me? I've got 200 people interested in learning more about Power BI, and we lost access to our trainer. Unfortunately, the Microsoft retail team we were working with, doesn't exist anymore.
So a couple options, and Stacy, I'm sure you'll probably say a similar thing. One is your CSMs, both in Teams and Power Platform that support your account. And I can let Stacy talk a little more about that. But then also, if you have a unified account, unified enterprise account that handles your support and delivery of proactive services, there's a lot of training pieces that you could invest in there as well. So that would be another option. But I'll let Stacy talk a little bit about CSMs if you're not. I think you are familiar, but it might be useful to talk about the CSM experience.
Yeah, I actually have a link that I'm going to throw in the chat that can be leveraged. It's videos that your CSMs across the nation have recorded to help you. They're the basic trainings, but there is a getting started with Power Apps, a video about Power Platform Foundations, and these were all done by GCC focused CSMs, so you will have access to that. There's also a couple about the Power BI service as well. And like Timothy just posted, there are some phenomenal Power Apps in a Day training programs that are done by our partners. I would absolutely suggest looking into those, particularly if you want to have these trainings be leveraged that are positioning these apps like Power BI and Power Platform from within Teams. There's some really cool partners that are doing those. And they typically can be something that is either Microsoft sponsored or partner sponsored. There's some options for getting those and bringing them to your organization. So I definitely suggest you reach out to your account team, either your unified team or your customer success management team, and combined those two can work together and bring you the lowest cost, perhaps even complimentary trainings, either through a partner or direct.
Yeah, absolutely. Your account team, especially depending on how big the training initiative is, might be able to, just pull the resources together from all the things we just described. So, absolutely. Good stuff. Well, we thank everybody for hitting us up again. And once again, happy Star Wars Day, Cinco de Mayo. What else? Has spring started yet? I think spring, I guess you can say spring. In Ohio, I'm not sure if spring has actually started, but today it looks okay. But yeah, have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining all. Hope you have a
Thank you.
gratitude-filled week next week too.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Ricardo. Thanks, Stacy.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out the blog for more content.